You're listening to the #1 podcast for nonprofit leaders, getting your nonprofit fully funded. This is the Fundraising Masterminds Podcast. All right, well, we're back for another episode of Fundraising Masterminds. We are so glad that you have tuned in this week. And this episode, we're going to be talking about fundraiser events. Right. And we're going to be talking specifically about dinners.
Yes, that's right.
If you've been with us for any length of time, you know we're big advocates of vision dinners. But there are lots of different ways to do vision dinners. And oftentimes when we talk about a vision dinner, people think that they know what we're talking about, but we quickly find out that we're in different islands.
Yeah.
Right. And this topic of tickets and selling tables, selling tickets is a big thing that comes up. So we wanted to address this issue on this podcast. But before we do, and before we get into it, if you wouldn't mind subscribing on YouTube, if you're watching us on YouTube, click that bell notification because we really want you to be able to see this content for the future. We release weekly episodes and it's specifically for nonprofit leaders. So we cover a variety of topics. And if you're new to us, you could check out our bio on our website, fundraisingmasterminds.net. But just real quickly, Jim and I have over 60 years of development experience combined. Jim works for one of the world's largest Christian organizations called Crew. And I started a software business back in 2006 called Fundeasy. And both of us combined have raised over $1 billion for nonprofits. So we have a thing or two to say about best practices. We've been through a lot. We've seen a lot.
Right.
And that's where we're coming from when we're talking about this topic for today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's get into it, Jim.
Yeah.
So we're talking about, first of all, are we talking about dinners only, or are we talking about just all fundraisers in general, like fundraiser events? We're talking about fundraiser events, but are we talking specifically about vision dinners, or are we talking about just any fundraiser event at all?
Well, I think specifically here we are talking about vision dinners.
Okay.
And what I mean by that, the term that I don't just necessarily love, but banquets. That's I think banquets is a kind of a passé term, but galas, victory dinners.
What is the difference between a banquet and a gala and a dinner?
Well,
they're fundamentally, do they mean different terms?
Well,
or what?
A lot of times it really has to do more with the upscale of the event. This is a topic for another one of our sessions.
Yeah.
But the more that you dress up, statistically, you see more money. Mm-hmm. So the banquet would typically be at the bottom level, but like I said, I don't even like the term banquet.
Right.
A dinner would be more the mid-level, and of course, a gala or a gala is more, you think more upscale, potentially even black tie. All
right. Well, on this topic of tickets and charging and stuff, I actually just had a phone call with a nonprofit leader last week, and she works in an inner city mission, and she was telling me about her dinner that she's doing in just a month or two away. Right. And anyways, it turned out that she had tried to do a dinner, complimentary, and she had heard about the table host model and she had tried it, but then ultimately kind of concluded for her, again, people always say for me, it's nice that you're saying that, but for me, I found that it didn't work very well because of X, Y, and Z. The main reason why she decided to charge for her tickets and for her tables is because she found that a lot of this particular organization was a sports ministry. And she found that the athletes were coming to support, but they really weren't qualified to give, so they were leaving like $20 donations, and it really was kind of usurping the thing. And she felt bad. She wanted the athletes to be able to come, but really the purpose of the dinner is to get investors to come. And so her way of getting around that, which made sense to her, was let's charge, $200 a ticket. And that will qualify people.
She actually used $200 a ticket.
Well, she didn't say a dollar amount. I think maybe she said 100.
Yeah, because that's way beyond what do you know what the average is?
What?
The average for a Christian organization, average for a nonprofit,
I'm pretty sure she
is
said
$25 to $50. So $200 would be astronomical.
I think it was 100. going back, but it was higher than your average. And I think it was because she was trying to say, you know, if you can't afford $100 for this, then I don't even want to talk to you. But I actually received an invitation in the mail for a gala in Nashville. And it's a very popular person, you know, who runs this gala adoption agency. And they have a minimum of $200 to, like, they sell tickets for $200 to attend. And it's probably because the guy is famous. You know, if I mentioned his name, you would know he's a recording artist. But maybe they're trying to limit how many people will come, because if they just open it up, you know, you'll get flooded of people. You'll get floods of people coming just to see the guy. So I don't know, but you're a big...
I can't tell you on how many levels, Jason, what you just said is so wrong on every level. My heart grieves actually for the first person in that I think they have really gone down a wrong path and made a huge mistake. I think they made some conclusions, some assumptions that were totally incorrect.
Well, let's talk about those two scenarios, because I think they're kind of different mindsets, right? Mindset number one is we have people, you know, I tried opening it up to people and the wrong people came. The mindset number two is I have too many people that want to come, and so I'm trying to limit, you know, but so they're trying to, and then, well, the third mindset, I think, which I think a lot of people fall into this if you're not one of those two, is just I'm trying to cover the cost of my meal. And so, you know, the dinner is expensive, you know, you know, let's just say it's $50 a plate. So we're going to charge $50 to attend. That's going to cover the cost of the meal. And then all the donations given at the event are going to be over and above. Makes a ton of sense from a logical perspective, but
unfortunately, it doesn't work from the practical sense. And
so that's what we want to get into. So let's talk about those three. And is there another one, or is that pretty much cover the gamut of?
No, and what I hear you saying, and what I know from my own experience, is that doing the right thing wrong is not going to have success. And that's what I hear happened with this first woman. She took the right concept and did it in the wrong way. So in other words, what she did was she took the table host concept and didn't train table hosts, didn't make sure she pre-qualified people were coming. So all she did was get people to, essentially what it sounds to me is that she just said, bring a warm body. If the person has a pulse, invite them to come. And that's always going to be the wrong way to go. Or it could have been that
the athletes just found out about it because it was publicized and they just wanted to come.
Well, then the mistake was in the publication and the promotion of it. And so what I have found, Jason, typically, I get a call. Oftentimes, I would say 90% of the times that I get a call, it's from an organization who has tried, and it's generally anywhere from 3 to 5 years. They've tried the tickets and the tables, and it hasn't worked. What happens is they essentially hit a plateau. They only raise X amount of money. I'll give you a great example. I had a nonprofit organization in Chicago that had been doing a dinner, selling tickets and selling tables for about 3 years, and they were consistently getting about 150 people and bringing in about 35,000 gross. So in other words, they had 25,000 in ticket sales and 10,000 giving at the end of the night. But they felt like they'd hit a plateau and just weren't moving. It was the same thing.
That was 150 people?
That was 150 people.
Wow.
So they called me and they said, Jim, can you tell us what we're doing wrong? Well, of course, the first words out of my mouth were, you need to jettison the ticket sales, which in their mind, they heard, I'm going to automatically give up $25,000, let alone the money on the back end. I said, you are going to raise significantly more money by offering it complimentary to the individuals than
and I can tell you, $35,000 for a dinner is like not even worth, like, why even bother do a dinner if you're going to only raise 30? I mean, we see on average the people who go through our Perfect Vision dinner course, I would say the average is like at least 100 to 200,000.
Right.
You know, and that's just for a small dinner.
Absolutely.
You got like some larger dinners going, and we're raising, you know, between $500 and $1 million.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, 35,000 is like, why are you even doing this? That doesn't even cover hardly one person's salary.
Right. But it's the same thing, using the examples that you had, is that when you sell tickets, you don't get a lot of gifts. And I'm sorry to say, because if the individual you talked to on the phone the other day is going to do their dinner in May or very soon, and if they are going to go $100 or $200 per ticket, that right there, she's going to kill herself, because she is charging such a high amount for her ticket that it's almost a lock that people will give very few at the back end. So she's getting it to make herself feel good on the front end by actually getting advance money in ticket sales, but she'll lose it on the back end because she won't get those. Whereas with our model, you're getting significantly. And you said, I can't remember whether it was example 1 or 2, but you said that they were averaging about $250. Well, we're seeing 500 plus per unit. So
yeah, I mean, think about it in terms of just psychologically. Right. So psychologically, and a lot of this stuff is somewhat psychological, but just let's say that I meet a person at my church who might be interested in my nonprofit. They're interested, they align, and I say, "Hi, Mr. Bob Smith. I would really like you to learn about my nonprofit. Would you pay me $100 so that I can have a relationship with you?"
So that you can learn about our organization. You're asking me to pay $100 to learn about your organization. Wow.
What are the chances of that person wanting to?
Thanks, Jason. I appreciate it. Oh, guess what? I think I'm busy that night. I don't really get excited about that.
Versus, hey, Bob Smith.
Yes.
It looks like you're pretty aligned with our organization.
Yeah, I'm liking what I've heard, Jason.
Yeah. You know, there's a special event that we're happening at the Ritz Hotel down the street. It's going to be a really nice night. We would like to invite you to come. It's a special date night with your wife. We would love for you and your wife to come and to join us.
Is this going to cost me anything?
No cost to you. We just want you to hear, you know, what we're doing. And there's gonna be an opportunity for you to learn about the vision. And we will give you the opportunity to make an investment if you want, but you're under no obligation to do that. But we really just want you to come and hear, you know, what God is doing.
Man, that sounds good. I'm in. Count me in.
Complimentary meal. Bring your wife, and you know, learn about the vision of the organization.
So kind of like a date night. Yeah, for sure. Count me in. I'm in.
In fact, we want you to. We're gonna treat you well.
Count me in.
So, I mean, just think about that psychologically, right?
It's so different, Jason. That way of looking at things.
And the thing is that if I'm the person who is purchasing a ticket, for $200, or $100 to go,
exactly.
In my mind, I'm thinking that's my donation.
That is exactly right.
And that's what I'm purchasing a ticket. And that is my donation.
Well, I'm thinking that I'm covering the cost of the meal, and on top of that is my donation.
And the problem is, and this is where people get into trouble, is if you're, you know, charging $25 a ticket, or, you know, even less than that, people still assume that their donation is in that.
Because they could assume that, well, in theory, what happens is that most people are thinking, what's the cost of a meal when I go out for dinner? And if it's $20, $25 per person, and you're charging $50 a ticket, well, clearly...
Well, the average meal is 10.
Well, that's what they're thinking. Absolutely.
And if we're having a dinner of 300 people, well, surely you're a good negotiator. So they must have gotten my meal down to 8 or something. So $25 a meal, that's you know, that's a good $15 donation or something. That's what they're thinking.
Exactly. They think that because you're buying these meals in bulk, that you're getting it at a cheaper price, and as a result, that the ticket cost and the donation are lumped together.
And personally, because I've been to some of these ticketed things, I think the organization feels awkward.
Yes.
Asking for money, doing an appeal properly.
Right. After they've charged them.
Because they even feel like, well, we charge you for tickets, so we need to be entertaining you. Yeah. We need to be putting on a good show.
That's right.
And so even like if you go down the appeal route that we promote, it feels awkward to ask for money when you've already paid tickets.
And as a result, they downplay the appeal. They water it down.
So you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Twice, actually.
Both feet.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, Jason, I think is so important, getting to your point about the awkwardness of things, we find that if you think about concentric circles of influence, there's that middle section, which is your target. That's your target audience. That's typically your board, your staff, your close friends. Those people are willing to buy tickets and buy tables because they love you. And it almost doesn't matter the cost of those things. Well, when you want to get out beyond those people, the people who hardly know you, and then people that don't know anything about you, like the individual that you mentioned who knows a little bit about me and you offered the ticket sale. When you start to get further out to those groups, it's harder and harder to sell tickets to those people. So providing that complimentary opens it up for more people to be involved.
Well, I can tell you this one gala, they call it a gala in Nashville. They charge $200 a ticket.
Right.
My wife and I actually support the ministry. We give monthly to it. But we don't go to the dinner. We would love to go to the dinner, but we're not going to pay $200. And ironically, we might even give more than $200 when we're there.
Yes.
But just the idea of paying $200 to get in the door,
it's exactly
it's like I want to have the opportunities presented to me so that I can know what I'm investing into. And to just have $200 without even knowing anything is just like, well, I'm not going to go, because I don't even know what these guys are going to be
And you
saying.
want to respond to the movement of the Holy Spirit. You want to allow God to work as you hear the program.
Exactly. Yeah.
So such a big mistake when people will do that.
And I can tell you from the software side, because I've seen, now we have a lot of customers in Fundeasy who do it the right way. They don't charge tickets. But unfortunately, there are probably more than I want to admit in the thousands who I see every year creating their event and logging in ticket sales or, doing corporate sponsors, which are kind of a form of ticket sales.
They are.
But we've also seen, not only individual tickets, because the next route, that people go down is, you have a good point about selling tickets to individuals. How about we just sell tables to our table hosts? Because, the table hosts are our main supporters anyways. And so, we can charge $500 for a table.
They'll pay for the ticket.
They'll pay for the
invite,
and then
they'll pay for the table.
It's complimentary.
Friends can come.
And it solves the problem because the people who are coming are being invited. So it takes away that awkwardness. They're gonna, respond better to the appeal. But the table hosts are the ones fitting the bill.
Well, I'll tell you, that has the opposite effect of what you intended to do.
Really?
Why is that? You're hoping that the individuals, the table hosts, will bring then good qualified people. When actually what we find is that it has the opposite effect. Oftentimes, and I've got documented evidence of this, oftentimes we will have table hosts who will tell their guests, don't worry about giving because I got it covered. I bought the table, so don't worry about giving a gift. Or we see a flyer on the company lunchroom bulletin board that says XYZ company bought a table at the XYZ organization dinner. And come one, come all, if you have a pulse, please feel free to come. And it takes away the incentive for the table host.
Isn't that just a communication problem? Can't the organization tell the table host, like, hey, you bought a ticket, but you need to keep this to yourself?
Here's the thing. You lose out on so many fronts. Number one, when you ask someone, and the average table purchased is $250 to $500. Well, you have an individual who you asked to be a table host that's part of that center concentric circle of influence.
Yeah.
Those people have the capability of giving $5,000, $10,000, $25,000, but they want to meet your expectations. They want to they want to do what you ask them to do. Well, what happens is that when you ask somebody to buy a table for $500, they're not thinking, well, I have the capability of giving $25,000, so when I get to the dinner, I'm going to write a check for $24,500 in the different. They're not thinking that way. They believe that they did their part by purchasing a table at $500, and they feel like that their guests will just give as they feel like it's led.
Nope.
So you actually, by telling them that, or not telling them to not do anything, is more.
When you go out to eat at a restaurant and you get the bill at the end,
right?
Typically, the receipt has 3 suggestions for tips.
That's right.
What do you think the chances are that one of those 3 suggestions gets put on the bill every single time?
Yeah.
How many times do you think people say, well, I could give 50%?
Right.
tip,
Right. Exactly. But no, I don't think I'm going to. Right.
Most of the time, it's what do you expect of me?
Right.
I'm going to give what you expect.
Well, in fact, I sometimes will even do just the opposite, because I may be thinking in my mind, I want to give 20%. And if that option that they give me is 15%, in my mind, I'm kind of, well, it's too bad. I mean, I was thinking more. Now, I could give more, and there are times that I give more. Yeah. But a lot of times when they bring up the idea of 15, I'll take that versus a 20.
Right.
Because
I like
your expectations.
I like what you said about the table hosts are your most invested partners.
Right.
And a lot of times they do have the opportunity to give a lot more than whatever the table would cost. And again, we're kind of coming at it as you're trying to cover the expenses.
Right.
But what we've found, and this is like a proven fact, this isn't just like a theory. This is, Jim raises over $26 million a year for the campus ministry at Cru.
Done over 2,500 dinners.
Done over 2,500 dinners the right way.
Right.
So this is not, I mean, you do like 50 to 80 dinners a year.
Right.
Doing complimentary.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Not selling tickets, not selling tables.
Right.
You don't lose. I've never heard a story of you losing money on a dinner.
It's been a long time, by God's grace.
Yeah. Never heard it. You always come out ahead.
Yep.
So the issue isn't, if we do complimentary, we're going to lose money.
Right.
I've never heard of a story, and you do hundreds of these.
Yeah.
So that's not the issue.
No.
Really, the issue boils down to when people are presented correctly, the opportunity, and they understand the vision and the mission and the values of the organization, they are way more likely to give significantly more money. And they want to.
Yes,
you're not forcing them to.
Because they've just had a wonderful evening. They've had a complimentary meal, great program, great entertainment. They're by the time they get to the end of one of our dinners, people are excited. There's pent up giving. They can't wait to give.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot like a dating relationship. If you're interested in a woman, and you want to get to know her more, and you walked up to her and said, honey, or you probably wouldn't say honey. You walked up to her and said, hey,
not if you don't want a lawsuit or something.
You walked up to her and you said, hey, I'd really like to get to know you more. Would you mind, buying a ticket for $50 so that we could go out to Red Lobster and get to know each other more?
Yeah,
I don't think that would go over very well.
Not real well.
If you really were interested in building that relationship long term, you're going to take her out and you're going to pay for the meal, and then that's going to give you the opportunity to build that relationship. It's the same concept with Vision Dinners. We're trying to build lifetime partners. We're not trying to
just
raise
get
a buck.
money in the door. That's the big mistake people make.
Yeah. So if this is something that you are thinking to yourself, gee, I never really thought about that in this way. What you're saying makes a lot of sense. I would encourage you to head over to our website. We've got a great resource for you, fundraisingmasterminds.net. There's actually a webinar on our website that is, it's a replay webinar. So it's something Jim and I recorded a long time ago, but it's still relevant. And essentially what it is 3 mistakes that nonprofits typically make when fundraising. And it's on the topic of how you can be fully funded in the next 5 months. And really, this model of the vision dinner done right, you know, through
Absolutely.
complimentary table hosts is one of our big things. But it's not only, I mean, if you just say, okay, well, why do I need to take the course?
Right.
I just won't charge, you know, well, there's a lot more to it than
so much more.
Actually, there's 20 weeks of information. And that's part of the reason why we made this course, is because I've seen so many nonprofits logging into Fundeasy and putting in their event, and I could kind of see what they were doing, and I could see the numbers, and I could see the results. And you've personally worked with thousands of nonprofits, consulting with them and helping them. And so we know that there are people out there who, even if you're not selling tickets, there's things that you are doing that you could be improving in. And that's ultimately why we created this course, was because we really wanted to provide a resource to nonprofits specifically of what are the best practices for doing a vision dinner that actually yields the most result. And really this is like the result of this course is really the result of like 40 years of development experience.
And we often see 3 to 5 times more money come in using our model.
3 to 5 times more. Did I hear that right? 3 to 5 times more.
We will oftentimes see that. And I can tell you, your point about the alternatives are so valid. You just stopping selling tickets or selling tables may actually just really hurt you without knowing how to do it properly and what the corrective action is to do that. Such as, how do we cover the cost now of our event because we're not selling tickets? Well, we've got an answer for that, and we've got a solution.
And so, unfortunately, you know, these podcast episodes are like 20, 30 minutes. You know, we can talk about different things here and there, but really the course is designed for us to interact with you. It's actually a live course, which means that you get to have 20 weeks of coaching with Jim and I. And that's something that a lot of people kind of misunderstand. They think we're selling a video course, and there are videos that you're going to watch. But you know, every week we have a live coaching call because we ultimately want to find out where you're at, kind of answer any questions that you have as you're going through the material. And we want to be there with you because a lot of times, you know, when you're changing mindset, believe it or not, there are board members and other leadership people that start questioning, you know, hey, we've been doing the vision dinner, the gala, we've been doing it this way for years. What are you messing with it for? Why are you changing things? And so having experienced people behind you like Jim and I, you know, when those questions come up, you can just say, well, why don't you come to the call next week and you can ask them these questions and we'll address that, you know, head on. And it takes the pressure off, you know, and so it's a great resource. We do it twice a year. We do one in the spring. One is actually coming up. I don't know when this episode will go on the air, but we do one typically around May 8th in the spring. And in the fall, we're going to start one towards October. But the one in the May is designed to walk you through to doing a vision dinner in the fall.
Just check out the website and see when the times are. For sure.
The one in the fall is designed to take you to the spring. But the goal of the course is to basically walk you through the process. It's designed that you're actually getting prepared for a vision dinner while you're taking the course, right? So you're learning about these things, but you're also doing them in real time. And then if there's questions or things that come up, you can ask us.
Jason, we have, my wife and I have vacationed in Colorado quite often over the years. And we enjoy going down a river with the rapids. But as much as we have done it in the past, as much as we enjoyed it, we need a guide, somebody to take us through those rapids. They know where the rocks are. They know where the quick turns are. They know where people can get thrown very easily. The same thing with your dinner. You can run into difficulties, challenges, roadblocks, walls. We are your guides to help you get through that.
And we've had people go through this who have done vision dinners for years. I mean, I'm thinking of one nonprofit. They've been doing it 20 years. And they still...
Every time they've learned,
every time they go through it, they learn something new. You know, so there's just... It's so valuable, and for the cost of the course, I mean, you can check it out on the website, but it's a fraction. I mean, like I said, you're going to raise 2 to 3 times more money.
Yeah.
Doing it our way.
That's right.
Versus doing it whatever way you've been doing it. And again, we're not trying to be arrogant.
Yeah.
We're not trying to say that we are perfect and we have it all figured out.
Yeah.
But it's really just 40 years of experience at play.
Yeah. Well,
right?
We call it the perfect vision dinner because it's perfect for you. We structure it based on where you're at in your situation. Right. If this is your first dinner, we'll structure it that way. If this is your 20th dinner, we'll structure it based on that.
Yep.
We know what are the kinds of things that need to happen to take you to the next level and get your dinner better. Yeah. That's why it's the perfect vision dinner.
And it's really not it's not really intended for newbies in the sense of like, well, if you're bringing in 35,000, we can get you to 100. It really doesn't matter, the level that you're at.
Right.
We've actually said
that's right.
In our course that if you're not practicing these things and you switch to them, we believe that you could actually raise double.
Right.
And what we call it double your impact.
Yes.
We believe that you can double your impact by switching to our model. So, I mean, think about that, think about the effect that might have. And I would strongly encourage you to check it out, fundraisingmasterminds.net. It's called the Perfect Vision Dinner course. Yeah. We would love to work with you.
Yeah. Oh, please check it out. Yeah. If you were intrigued at all by this topic, don't just automatically just say, nah, we can't do this, or this is crazy. It can't work. Trust me, 2,500 dinners over 38 years. I tried it early on, the selling tickets and selling tables. Within a matter of years, I had switched over and found the right way to do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we've probably stepped on some people's toes, and there might be some people out there who are saying, well, I've been selling tickets for 50 years and it works just great. We raised $3 million. So if that's you, please write a comment in this video because we would love to talk to you. And if you have any other experiences that, maybe are different than what we're saying, let us know.
3 million. I want to talk to that person for sure, because that's not what I'm used to.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, feel free to write any comments or questions. We often do question and answer segments on here. So if you have a question for us about Vision Dinner or any development topic, we would love to hear from you. So just write that in. Yeah. And while you're in there doing that, please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you get notifications because we are releasing new episodes every week. Yeah. And also you can get us on the go. Right?
Yes, that's right.
Apple Podcasts and Spotify have our episodes, and you can listen wherever you are. So
on your way to work.
It's a wonderful world we live in.
It is, absolutely. And be sure to comment as well in there. We love to hear from you. And you might not be selling tickets or selling tables, but maybe another ministry, another organization that does. Yeah. You want them to hear this. Please share this with them as well.
Yeah, we really want to get the word out because we want to help as many people as we can.
So do it right.
Any way that you can help us help others would be very much appreciated. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Fundraising Masterminds Podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.